Welcome back, everyone. Is here, and today I've got some r/WhatDoIDo for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Plenty Rent 7254. Dude I'm seeing had an accident in my car. I've been seeing this dude for over a month, and it was cool, but I decided that it would be best for us to be friends, as it was obvious we didn't have too much chemistry. We hung out last night, and he smoked. I was driving, so I didn't. And we went for a ride. It was about an hour, and I dropped him off, and when I got out of my car, there was a wet spot. It was huge. The seat was really wet and smelled like piss. I texted him, "Hey, I sweat a lot, so I know this happens to me, but did you piss in my car?" He responds that he did, and he didn't notice till he got in his apartment. I just had to clean this guy's piss out of my seat. What the fuck? Edit, the guy texted me this morning saying that he still wanted to be friends and that he wanted to go on a hike this week. I told him it's best to go our separate ways and unadded him. God bless his soul. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. When I read this title, I thought that he crashed your car. Not this. This is not what I was expecting. And somehow, this is somehow worse. How do you go about this? Like, yeah, what do you do in this scenario besides just not talk to him ever again? Because this is just insane. How do you piss yourself and not realize? LTK622. Did this happen just after you heard that you're not interested in him romantically? If so, it wasn't an accident. Maybe not consciously on purpose, but definitely not random. OP responds, "Yes, it did. I didn't want to think that, but he did say his feelings were hurt for rejecting him." So now we have that added info if there's a chance that this guy might just be like a serial pants pisser, and upon being rejected, just let it all out. Like, maybe if he explained that he had some kind of bladder condition or something along those lines, that'd be one thing, but he also just left OP to clean it up themselves and just acted like nothing happened. That's kind of crazy. Frosty Cup 3488. My fiance gambled away $20K 10 months before our wedding. My fiance, 29 male, just told me, 29 female, this past weekend that over the course of a year has gambled away about 20K. And of that 20K, 4K was just given to us by his dad for our wedding, which is in 10 months. And this isn't the first time, this is the second. We've been together for about 4 years now, and about 2 years ago, he lost 10K from gambling. This is, or was, I don't know anymore, the healthiest relationship I've ever had. I've never had to worry about him cheating or his loyalty. We talk things out in a healthy way. We're completely in love with each other. He's my best friend. When he told me, I obviously broke down crying and gave him a little piece of my mind for lying to me for a year. That's what I find the hardest to get over. Well, either that or the gambling away our wedding money. I'm trying to look at the debt like college debt. Everyone has it, but our wedding money? He says he didn't tell me for so long because he thought he could win it back. And then, when he took the 4K from his dad, he told me a couple days later. I told him he has to make an appointment with a financial advisor ASAP to figure out what the fuck to do. We were supposed to get married this year and buy a house next year, but his credit is going to be ruined, and I'm afraid of being linked to him financially and maritally. Obviously, we can't share a bank account. I'm feeling very lost, confused, hurt, and betrayed. How do I move forward? How can I trust him? Can we rebuild? I love him so much and I want to forgive him. He said he knows this is his last chance, but this time, if he fucks up again, it's not just a breakup, it's a divorce. I can't talk to anyone about this and I'm feeling really isolated. I'll take all the advice. Thanks. So, the way that I see it, you have two options. Option one, he goes to his financial advisor and seeks out help and therapy for his gambling addiction. He needs to approach it honestly and seriously. If he's unwilling to do both of those, then you should leave him. Because this addiction will only get worse, and if he's not willing to help himself to help the both of you, then you should probably seek out having a different relationship. Just because he's great in every other category doesn't mean that this problem will not escalate and become a massive issue. Because if he doesn't solve this, how do you know that he won't gamble away your mortgage payments? How do you know that he won't gamble away your kids' college funds? You've got to put your foot down, and it's either he chooses to get help and seek out a way to see himself become a better person, or you move on and you leave. I feel like those two are OP's best options for moving forward. He calls me beloved. How do I open my daughter's eyes to her boyfriend? Recently, we went on a family vacation. My daughter, 26 female, brought her boyfriend who had been living with her for over a year. My son, 24 male, also brought his new girlfriend for a portion of the time. My daughter's boyfriend found my son's girlfriend sitting alone and went to her, and casually mentioned that he didn't know why, but everyone kept saying they were hitting on each other. Son's girlfriend said, "No, they don't." It was obvious to everyone that she was completely smitten with my son. Another instance was the boyfriend asked me if I grabbed him by the hips and pulled him to me. When I said no, he then said, "You didn't grab me and pull me to you?" And then he actually put his hand on my back and kind of made the motion that he was pulling me to him. I took his hand off of me and I said no, and pushed him away. He said, "Oh, it must have been the alcohol. I've been having some weird dreams." There were many other instances that were weird, like him saying my daughter was angry about different things, but when I confronted her, she was, for sure, not angry. He also asked me to spot him money to go get her an engagement ring. On another note, he left his entire family in North Carolina to move to Georgia to be with her. He's about to be 25. I believe he loves her, but has issues thinking everyone wants him. My daughter knows everything that went on. She didn't get mad and just rolled her eyes and passed it off. Should I be worried? While you can't control your daughter, I do agree that this guy is bad news. He does not pass the vibe check, and there is something definitely off. Normally, I'm pretty cautious when a parent's on Reddit saying that they distrust their child's new partner. But this is an instance where the distrust is most certainly warranted. Not only is he just kind of either locked in his own delusions or trying to cheat on your daughter, but the whole thing of him asking for money to be spotted for an engagement ring feels off. I hate to say it, but my first guess immediately jumps to the fact that that money has no intention of being used for an engagement ring. I would be mortified and just ultimately embarrassed if I had to ask my significant other's parents for help with an engagement ring, and additionally, as a parent, I would be completely scared for my child if their significant other asked for money for an engagement ring. Like, asking their parents for assistance is one thing, but asking the person you plan to marry, their parents for help, is strange to me. Like, I can't tell if he's purposely trying to make a bad impression, genuinely doesn't see any issue with this, or if he's just trying to get some quick money for God knows what. And the fact that the daughter rolled her eyes at some of the boyfriend's behaviors tells me that she's at least tangentially aware of his kind of shenanigans, which is also very concerning. She's an adult, she can make her own mistakes, but you do have a right to be concerned for her. My recommendation would be is just be ready to catch her when she inevitably falls. The last thing that OP wants to do is, by trying to inform her daughter of her boyfriend's red flag behavior, she accidentally pushes her further into his arms. Emergency Shape 3942. I, 17 female, found out my dad is a creep and I don't know what to do. Background. My parents got a divorce when I was around 11, and I'm now 17. They have joint custody of me, so I spend a week at a time at each of their houses. Shortly after my parents got divorced, my mom got married to a woman. My mom and dad have a good relationship, so when my mom and stepmom are at work, my father takes their puppy outside to play and go potty. They gave him a key to their house. Okay, so me and my dad have a shared computer because we both like video games and he also uses it for work. Yesterday, I decided I would clean up the desk, including the keyboard. I get a wet paper towel and start rubbing it over the keyboard, obviously pressing buttons in the process. Then the media player pops up onto the screen. There's about 20 files that are blank and unable to be opened, but there's 2 with thumbnails. I click on them because I've never seen this on the computer before. It's what looks like a hidden camera in my mom and stepmom's walk-in closet. There's 2 videos that I'm actually able to click on, and one is of my mom changing, and the other is of my stepmom changing. I obviously start freaking out, but luckily my dad wasn't home. I decided to look a bit deeper into the properties of the videos and find out they're from May of this year. I honestly didn't think that my dad would ever do something like this because he always shows respect towards women. Luckily today I'm going over to my mom's house, so I'm gonna tell her about this as they're victims and don't even know. I'm very close to my dad, and now I feel like I can't even look at him. So this is a complicated situation, but your parents will know what to do. First of all, get copies of the videos, send them to yourself, Google Drive, email, whatever. Preferably, if you can, through a USB, because some drive storages can wipe the metadata. You don't want that. You want to make sure the metadata is intact. Lawyers and law enforcement will know what to do with that. Then, what you do, as a 17-year-old, is alert your mother to your findings, show her the files, and have her just find the camera by accident. And let them handle it from there. They're the adults in the situation, they'll know what to do, and that way none of this falls back onto you. Your father definitely crossed a line and is 100% doing something illegal. And your mother and your stepmother deserve to know. All I can really do at this point is wish OP the best of luck because this is about to get messy and just very uncomfortable very fast. Nobel 6366. My grandpa found something heinous in my grandma's sock drawer. So, some context. My grandma is technically my step-grandma. She's been around since I was 3, and I'm 28 now. Grandpa has been like my dad for my whole life. My grandpa is 69, my grandma is 45. My grandpa has spent this entire time they have been together putting his hopes and dreams aside to build her a home. Literally, from the ground up, the walls and roof of their home was literally raised by his hands. The small farm/ranch they own, he tends the crops. He feeds the horses and chickens because it was her dream to have a homestead. Not that my grandpa wasn't wanting it too, but he's put years and years of hard work, literal blood, sweat, and tears. My grandpa should be retired and sitting on the couch drinking sangria, his favorite, and watching football or on his boat in the middle of the lake because he loves sailing. But up until this week, he was outside every day, rain or shine, building a homestead. My grandma, I love her, I really do. I was a troubled teen, and she was the kind of parenting I needed. She helped to turn my life around to a positive note. She's capable and kind and a killer cook, and I have no trouble understanding why my grandpa fell for her all those years ago. She just gives up on things so easily. She was a butcher and made really good money. She was done with that in a year. She went to school for early childhood education, finished her required classroom hours for certification, and quit. Became a realtor, sold one home, done. I think she's having trouble coming to terms with the fact that my grandpa is coming to an age where he has to retire. I would guess that she's trying a little bit of everything while she still can. 3 years ago, a wildfire burned through our town and they lost half of their land, 15 of the 30 acres. Almost lost the house my grandpa built. Literally burned right up to the back deck. It was PG&E's fault the fire started, so of course, class action lawsuit. They got $800,000 payout. They bought new cars, a new tractor, a travel trailer, paid off the debt on the land, and various other debts. My grandma also decided to buy something else a couple times. After their big spending spree, my grandpa started noticing substantial chunks of money going missing. My grandma was refusing to come home and staying in the travel trailer that she parked at a friend's house. This week, my grandpa found a baseball-sized ball of meth in her sock drawer. He went home, packed up some stuff, told their 17-year-old son, my uncle, to do the same, and he left. He didn't tell anyone where he went. He only told us, me and my mom, 44, and my aunt, 38, the why and that they were safe. My grandma had a history with drug abuse. My mom and her used to do it together when they were 19 to 22-ish. Oh, I don't like that. Your step-grandma is your mom's age. And they did drugs together. Alright? My mom saw it in July of last year. She noticed the way my grandma was acting. I didn't want to believe it because I thought better of my grandma. I thought that if my mom could put that shit behind her, then so could my grandma. And I guess I'm just hurt and confused why she would do this to my grandpa and their boy. Like, why did this sudden influx of money suddenly make her break her sobriety? And I so badly want to confront her about it because she's posting all this stuff on Facebook that's implying that my grandpa is lying about it. But my grandpa is a man of integrity. He's the kind of man that took my mom out for ice cream because she broke a boy's nose for grabbing her breasts when she was like 12. Anyways, thanks for reading. Too Long Didn't Read, Grandpa, 69, has spent the last 25 years of his life literally building up a homestead for his stay-at-home wife, 45, and they suddenly got a lot of money and my grandma started doing meth again, and he left. Now she's doing anything she can to say that he's lying and trying to cover it up on social media. I don't know what to do here because I know I should stay out of it because it isn't my marriage, but I can't help but to feel like she threw everything my grandpa has done away, and they were like my parents for a while, and I want to call her on her bullshit. Update 1 was posted in a comment by OP. Update. There have been a lot of accusations of grooming on my grandfather's part, and while I do understand how people could jump to that assumption, that isn't what it is, so I'm going to answer some questions and address some of the things I'm reading in the comments. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who came forward with real advice on how to move forward with this. I've looked into local Naranon and Al-Anon meetings and plan on going to one soon. I think my best route of action as a bystander in this is to just provide support for my 17-year-old uncle and my grandpa. I reached out to both of them today. Uncle is doing okay, and struggling to wrap his head around it too. Grandpa will never admit to needing emotional support, product of his generation, so he says he's doing fine. I'm going to let my grandma reach out to me when she's ready to do so. I'm not even going to press the issue with her. My grandpa didn't groom my step-grandma. Grandma was 19 when she met my mother and 20 when she met my grandpa. They got married when she was 21 and he was 45. I'm sorry to break this bubble to you, but that is grooming. You don't have to be a minor to be groomed. Step-grandma had 4 kids already when she met my grandfather, my creepy 26-year-old uncle, the twin uncles, and her daughter. I got their ages a little fucked up in my previous comment because I'm not super close with the twins and the daughter, but I grew up like my brother and sister with a 26-year-old uncle and the 17-year-old uncle. My grandpa did not know that my step-grandma was using when they met. She came clean about it a little over a decade ago, and she swore up and down that she had left that behind her. My step-grandma knew exactly what she was doing and what she was getting into when she got into a relationship with my grandpa. My grandma pursued my grandpa. My grandpa turned her down a shit ton before he gave her a chance, and they both fell for each other. Throughout their marriage, my grandma has worn the pants in the relationship. That being said, their entire relationship, she has been a grown adult. And had she felt any sort of trauma from grooming, she could have and would have left ages ago. So no, my grandpa didn't know her when she was young and isn't a predator because he married someone younger than him. No, I don't know my father personally. I know who he is and where he's been all of my life, but he was never an active parent. He was 19 when I was born, and as a teen dad will, he left. So no, I'm not inbred. No, I don't need a DNA test, and the people that commented with implications like that, you're fucked up. No, we aren't in a cult. Trust me, I wish this was fictional too. Update 2. I talked to my grandpa. My grandma flushed it in the toilet and is going into therapy. Your grandma flushed a ball of meth down the toilet? They're staying together and gonna fix it. One last note here before I silence this post. I came here looking for advice on how to process this situation. Point blank, people I love are hurting, and it's affecting me mentally and emotionally. Only a handful of you had an ounce of compassion or consideration. I'm aware I put this out there on Reddit. I knew there was going to be discourse and strong opinions, but I didn't expect people to start insulting my intelligence over something that happened before I developed consciousness, or implying that I'm inbred or pointing out the obvious complexity of my family dynamic. Like, be for real. I had no clue that my family is questionable and fucked up. Yours isn't. They've been together all my life, so yeah, their age gap is completely normal to me. Their relationship works for them, and it doesn't have to make sense to you. They're still married, and they're working through their issues like a team. Some of your parents could take notes. I will say it is incredibly fucked up for Reddit to be blaming OP for their family dynamics. Like, of course they're going to view it to be normal from exposure. That's just how that works when growing up in situations like this. And it is also disappointing that in a very complex situation like this, that Reddit's targeting more of, like, the potential grooming situation between the grandfather and the grandmother. Which I still think there definitely is room for that argument to be there because that is definitely messy and questionable. However, the main concern here is the fact that Grandma relapsed and is having a meth problem. And OP's trying to figure out how to approach it. And rather than actually try to give any kind of advice, people were just targeting the random shit in it. Which, I mean, yeah, I have questions about, but that wasn't my main focus in the slightest. My main focus was the ball of meth that apparently got flushed down the toilet. Other than that, it sounds like they're beginning to kind of find their ground again and work things out in a healthy relationship. I'm not surprised because sometimes when addicts are exposed to a new source of income, relapse does end up happening. I know that was a conversation I had with one of my family members who recently went through rehab. And yeah, sometimes that shit just sneaks up on you, and it is a battle you fight pretty much every day. For anyone in my audience who might be fighting or dealing with a struggle like that, keep on fighting. You're doing amazing, and every day that you take a step forward is one more day that you're stepping away from who you used to be. And keep that up. Sometimes we might trip and fall backwards, but what matters is that you stand up and take that next step away from who you used to be, who you no longer want to be. And good luck with that. Top Club 5687. My coworker asked me to cover a shift last minute, then texted me during my paid time off. What do? I, 28 female, planned a week off work to visit my sibling after we both had busy schedules for months. I gave my manager and team plenty of notice, swapped shifts to make sure everything was covered while I'm away, and even set up an out-of-office message. Fast forward to yesterday. A coworker hits me up asking if I can cover their shift tomorrow. I politely say I'm out of office and can't, but add that if it's urgent, I could ask the manager to reassign it. They respond with, seriously? I really needed you. I thought you'd help. Then today, I get a group text titled PTO cover from them, not me. Now I'm looking at muted notifications and avoiding Slack threads. I don't want to seem like a jerk, but they knew I was off and didn't plan ahead. I'm on my first day of vacation and already feeling guilty for saying no. What do? Stick to my boundary or circle back and rearrange something last minute, even though I already planned this trip? You stick to your paid time off and enjoy it. Anything that happens when you're off is not your problem. Keep your boundaries in check because the moment that you go and you break that boundary and you do this for them, it's not going to stop. They're going to keep asking you about, whoa, can you do this now? Oh, would it be okay if you did this as well? I saw that you did this for X, Y, and Z, so maybe you could do this for me? It won't stop, and your paid time off is now going to be paid time on. They had their chance to get their shit in order, and they didn't. That's not your problem. Enjoy your vacation. OK Exchange 9560. My date was about to be 2 hours late, and I told him we need to reschedule, and he's got me a little scared now. So this guy and I have been talking for about a week now. We planned a date about 4 days ago. Yesterday, we were supposed to have had our date, but days prior to that, we kept talking about the date up until the date that was supposed to be had yesterday. Yesterday, I already took a shower, got my makeup done, and got my son dressed because he was going to go to his babysitter at 8 p.m., and my date agreed to pay for the babysitter as well. So I kept asking him for updates on what was going on. He was really slow replying, and then, around 8:33, I told him, if you're not here by 9:30, we're gonna have to cancel because I don't want to keep the babysitter waiting, and then around 9 o'clock, I still had no response from him, so I just went ahead and told him we're gonna have to cancel. And as soon as I typed that, he said he had poor signal and he was gonna be there at 9:40. Please, I want to see you. He just kept texting more and more, so I just blocked him. And then he said that he understood why I had to cancel. But then he still kept calling and texting me. He found my Instagram and messaged me on there. He found my Snapchat. He called me on private numbers. he still kept cash apping me $1 asking me if I'm okay. I just feel a little bit creeped out by him, and he's still sending me messages from different numbers. Is this a valid reason to be worried about this kind of behavior and report it to the police? I did already text him yes, I was fine, but he still keeps contacting me. Update. I sent him a long text on why he should stop contacting me and why. He then texted me saying he sincerely apologized and he really wants to make it up. He sent me $50 on Cash App for deposit for babysitter, but I sent it back and told him to leave me alone. Comment from this Bluebird 276. Yes, it is valid to be disturbed by this behavior. First off, not communicating that he would be late is a bad sign, shows lack of respect for you and your time as a mother. He doesn't respect boundaries. It's telling that he wasn't texting back, but then responded as soon as you wanted to cancel the date. Whatever you do, do not go on a date with him. Don't meet for coffee, or even a chat on the phone just to hear him out. Also, I advise to not accept money for a babysitter from a man you've never met, or really, not until you know them well and have established some form of trust. I know it seems like a kind and romantic gesture, but it sounds like this guy would be the type to hold over your head and expect something in return. Sex. Block him immediately on everything when he contacts you, and if you feel physically unsafe, possibly look into filing a restraining order. I'm not sure how they work in terms of harassing over the phone or through social media, but it seems this guy is persistent and not well. User Blazing Sunflower Land responds, he goes from ignoring her and running late to bombarding her with messages and calls. Definitely a red flag situation. Definitely a run situation. Aspen9999 responds further, sounds more like his wife wasn't letting him go out. Puzzle-headed Oven 171 responds, you're definitely onto something there, I think. This is certainly a neon red flag scenario. Like, OP needs to get out of this situation, block this guy, and I hope to God she never gave him her address, because that could be even worse. Definitely look at contacting the local police department on the non-emergency hotline and see what they're able to possibly do. If this persists, a restraining order is 100% necessary, and yes, they can extend to social media. This is definitely spooky, and it's definitely telling, as some of the other commenters pointed out, that the moment that she canceled is when suddenly he was magically around to respond instantly. The craziest part of this is him sending $1 at a time to essentially try to get OP's attention. That is a scary amount of desperation right there. Like, this man went from not giving a shit because he thought he had you wrapped around his finger and thought that he could show up whenever he wanted to some of the most desperate, batshit crazy tactics one could pull out of the book. Definitely spooky. Stay the hell away and do what you can to stay safe. This is not normal behavior. Mammoth Finding 3815. My roommate borrowed my hoodie. Now her boyfriend wears it, and I don't know how to ask for it back. Okay, so this started months ago. I let my roommate borrow a hoodie because she was cold. Not a big deal. I didn't even think anything about it after that. Then I started noticing her boyfriend wearing it sometimes around the apartment. I thought it was weird, but figured she gave it to him to lounge in or whatever. Fast forward a few weeks, he takes it home. I say something casually like, hey, that hoodie's actually mine. And she goes, oh, I thought you didn't want it back. But I do. It was a gift from someone I don't talk to anymore. And yeah, I know it's just a hoodie, but it means something to me. Now, every time I think about asking again, it feels weirdly awkward, like it's been too long. He's basically claimed it. I don't want to start drama over clothing, but also, it's mine. What do I even say now without sounding petty? OP's best option is to just be direct in this case. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just, hey, that's my hoodie. It has sentimental value. I need it back. Don't leave any wiggle room. No room for them to interpret it as a, oh, I can give this back later, or maybe I'll give it back, or they're kind of not fully set on it. Don't leave any wiggle room. No room for them to possibly misinterpret it as a potential request and not a demand. It's your property. You should be able to have it back. The problem is, this started months ago. Months. The longer you wait, the worse it's gonna be. And you should just definitely try to nip it in the bud now and be direct about it, or else you're never gonna get the hoodie back. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by Gamersups. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend Gamersups enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.